Welcome to my basement. In this episode we will have a look at a new micro. A mythical beast born in Wales and released upon the world in August 1982. Let's dive in! So we have another huge box on the bench, and this is a new console that I don't own before, but I kinda do. Let's see what's inside. So as you can see, it's a Dragon32, and it's actually surprisingly light. Yeah, we have a RF out, we have a printer port, we have tape, the two joysticks, reset button, and we also have monitor out, and we have on-off button, and a strange power supply. This is what the seller described as a interesting solution. It's an unshielded power supply, so I'll probably print a box for this one before I use it, so I don't electrocute myself. But because of the state of the power supply, and also because the seller had a few Dragon32s from before, I got this pretty cheap actually. Not as cheap as the non-functioning TRS-80 I bought from before, but almost the same price actually. Quite happy with that. So I fixed up the power supply off camera, or at least I hope I did. The black wire on this side was actually loose, so I resoldered that. The other ones seems okay, and then I had to change this part because the isolation on the live high voltage side was worn off, so the wires were almost touching, which was a bit interesting. So yeah, and then I just epoxied to this plate that I 3D printed, and I also 3D printed a lid for this case. So yeah, which fits like this, and then I will glue this down to the plate. Yep, and we have a dragon logo on top. It's not the official logo, it's so that I remember that this power supply is for my Dragon32. So yeah, I hooked up the power, and I hooked up my new retro cables Dragon AV cable to get the video out from the monitor port to composite. So yeah, let's see if the power supply works. Of course the seller said it was working perfectly, so yeah, hoping that's true this time. Nice. Yeah, he said that the T button is a bit bad. Have to push it a bit harder than the rest, and also the clear button. But yeah, they work, you just have to push them harder, so I probably have to disassemble the keyboard and figure out what's going on there. But yeah, seems like we have a working machine at least. I'm pretty amazed that the power supply actually is working, and a bit relieved because yeah, there are strange voltages going into the machine. I think it's plus 8 volt DC and 28 I think, so not your normal type of power supply. So these buttons are quite special. When you push them down, they will make contact, as you can see. The other thing that happens from time to time is dry solder points. So this is the clear button that also is misbehaving, and yeah, can't really say that I can see anything wrong there as well. So yeah, I just used some contact cleaner on the two keys that were not responding as good as I liked them to, and it seems like it did the trick actually. Yeah, that was pretty easy to fix. This was actually a nice surprise. I didn't know that anybody did this back in the day, but this is actually metal, and you screw the screws into the metal and not into the plastic stem, which of course breaks the plastic over time, which has basically happened to all my old Commodore machines in some way or another. So yeah, these plastic standoffs are still doing great, and the metal caps are still in place to screw the screws into. Really nice feature. The Dragon32 was released in 1982, 2 years after the TRS-80 color computer. The successor with a whopping 64K of RAM and the name to go with it, namely the Dragon 64, was released the year after in 1983. But in the end it was not able to compete with the other players in the market, and Dragon Data went under in 1984. The remains was acquired by a company named Eurohard, and production continued in Spain. But things didn't exactly go well, and Eurohard went bankrupt in 1987. It's well known that the Dragon 32 is very close to the TRS-80 color computer, and to be blunt, it looks like a straight rip-off, with some minor changes to avoid legal action. One other theory is that they are both based on the same reference design by Motorola, and thus there's no wonder that they are similar. Tandy UK actually commented on the similarities in 1983 in the first issue of the Dragon User magazine. Basically, they're just saying that they haven't the copyright to the machine in the UK, so they won't go after the Dragon. And by the way, the design is so old at this point that by the time we finish any legal dispute, some other machine will have taken over the world. And I believe that this comment from Tandy UK is spot on actually, in a time when a new revolutionary computer popped into the market several times a year. We here have a micro that was based on a design that was already 2 years old when it was first introduced. Dragon Data actually also tried to conquer the US market, the home turf of the TRS-80 color computer itself. In 1983 they released the Dragon 64 in partnership with Teino Corporation 2 months before it was released in the UK. The machine was launched as Dragon by Teino. Once that adventure faltered, the entire stock of these Dragon computers was bought by California Digital. And as a fun fact, they actually kept selling their stock of brand new Dragons by Teino computers until the last one was sold off in July 2017. Well, enough history, I'll leave it here for this episode, but I plan to make a follow-up to test it out some more and check out the Coco STC solution. The one I'm holding in my hand here is already configured to support the Dragon 32. If you like content like this, be sure to like and subscribe, and I do hope to see you again next time.